see what we got here.
Alright, yeah, hi, my name's
Grade A
Dakota.
comedy.
As you can see, it's on my shirt because I'm that cool.
Delicious.
That's right, I do wish I was that cool.
Just the
I just immediately forgot all the material I didn't prepare. Stupid thing. Yeah, so this is my first time up here. It kind of reminds me of when I lost my virginity. The goal is the last 5 minutes. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm nervous as shit. Laughter, now it's definitely like when I lost my virginity. Oh, I didn't really plan on getting this far. No idea where to go. I didn't prepare any material because I kind of thought like this would be like when you first start dating. You know, you start practicing on your pillow, then when you finally start kissing somebody, you're like, oh man, I was practicing the wrong stuff. Oh, let's see. The only other joke I have in my head is a rape joke.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Yeah, she told me not to do it. Challenge accepted. So this is a true story. Happened to me. I had went out drinking the night before. I was up very late. I had some company. My dad wakes me up in the morning. I roll out of bed. I go in the kitchen. I get some coffee. We're standing there talking. I had no idea I was naked the whole time. My uncle walks in, and his eyes light up. And for the first time in my life, I was scared of my uncle.
I got.
And he looks at me, he's like, oh, I just didn't hear a fat boy squeal. It was a pretty grown mouth. Starts chasing me around across the house. I go in my room. I try to dive over my company, hoping that he rapes her instead of me. That might have been a little too far.
Cover.
So he grabs my ankle before I get over. He starts dragging me into the kitchen. I'm screaming bloody murder. I'm leaving nail marks in the floor. And he gets me in the kitchen. I'm screaming, help, help, Dad, don't let him rape me. And then, of course, he's not, and they're just standing there laughing at me. And the worst part of it was the girl walks in and she starts laughing at me.
Keep going.
Yeah, that's literally all my material. 5 minutes is a lot longer up here than I thought it was going to be. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm 6'1".
Cool.
That was nice. All right. Real quick, I want to thank everybody for listening to another episode of the Cry, Laugh, Repeat podcast. I'm your host, Mac, a.k.a. Torrin Plain. My guest today, you just heard a little bit of his material. Can you introduce yourself for the people, sir?
Yes, my name is Dakota Clark.
And in the back, behind the scenes, we have his, what is she to you?
She is my girlfriend, Rachel Abrams.
That's right. Shout out.
Hey.
Rachel, let them know you're alive. You know, this is
I think I have a pulse.
That the audio, this is for the audio for the people that aren't watching us right now. And we're also live on Facebook right now. That's a small thing that I wanted to do. Wanted to start going live on Facebook because people want to see our faces while we talk because our voices are not good enough apparently. That is.
And we have very pretty faces, both of us, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I try to be as modest as I usually am, you know, with my beer in my hand. But I am quite a handsome devil. You're a new upcoming comedian. How you liking it? How long have you been doing comedy first? And how are you liking your journey in this time that you've been doing it?
Okay, well, first, I've been a fan of comedy for years. I've been thinking about doing stand-up comedy for a few months now, and just went on stage. That was the first. What you just heard is the first time I was ever on stage. Period. It was a couple months ago. So far, I'm pretty addicted to it. Pretty sure that it's going to consume the rest of my life and the majority of my time. It's very addicting. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Awesome. So just a couple months. That's how long. So you're like a newbie.
Yeah, super new. It's
Fresh newbie.
yeah, fresh.
But you love it. Things were going. Let's talk about the clip we just listened to. Rachel,
Yes.
were you there at this first performance?
I was not.
You weren't?
No.
How did you feel about his first performance in comedy? Honest at all times, your hand is on the Bible.
I mean, I didn't think it was awful when I was watching it, but on the other hand, I never really find him funny in the first place, so it's
What?
kind of hard.
But you're the cheerleader. You're the person who's there cheering him on at all times. You're
No.
supposed to find him funny no matter what. When other people say he's not funny, you're supposed to be there out of nowhere, bust out like the Kool-Aid man. He is funny. Oh, yeah.
No, she found every excuse in the world to not go.
Oh, so you could have went that night and you just were like, I'm busy?
No, I actually had class that night, so there was no way I could go. But the first one, before it got canceled, I actually went with him, and they didn't have power.
Yeah, whole power went out for the whole block the first night I was supposed to go.
The first time you were supposed to go, which was not the clip that we just listened to. Actually.
Nah, it was 2 weeks before that.
So alright, so you get on stage for the first time, that's how it goes. How do you feel when you get off of stage?
Well, I would have thought I had done really bad if I hadn't stayed and watched some of the other people perform.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
what number were you in the lineup? How many
was number
comedians
3.
were there?
There was about 15 comedians, give or take 1 or 2, and I was like number 3. So the host went up, and then he had 2 other people than me. And the 2 people that went in front of me were both more established comics.
Okay.
And then I was the first of the true open micers that night.
Okay, so you were like the first, hey, this may not
This
is where the show is going to turn right here.
Yes.
And like you're the example.
Literally halfway through my set was when the show turned from funny to cringeworthy the rest of the night.
Cringeworthy. I think that's like the main way you describe your performance that night. So why I can probably name a couple reasons why it was cringeworthy, but I just like to hear from you. What parts did you think were cringeworthy?
Well, so I learned a lot in that first 5 minutes on stage, and I didn't have any material prepared because it was kind of one of those things where I thought until you're actually in front of an audience, you wouldn't know.
So you were one of those people that was like, I can do this. I don't even have to write a joke. I'm funny.
No, it was more like I didn't know what jokes, like, so I could have wrote 100 pages of jokes and gotten up there and got no laughs. Until you're in front of an audience, you don't know how material is going to work.
You don't know how to use it. You don't know how to work it.
So I just wanted to jump up there, see what happened, and learn as much as I could about how the audience reacts. And I would say it went really well up until I tried to tell that rape joke.
And that's usually when things start to fall. You know, the rape joke is
Very hard.
very infamous for being the the crowd divider. You know, there is a specific crowd that they're actually looking for the edgy comedy, they're looking for a rape joke or a race joke or some type of something that's not going to bore them because they don't like the norm.
Yeah.
This is the day and age that rape jokes are not really getting it.
No.
To be honest with you, this is if you pay attention to comedy and just the industry right now, all comedians are really talking about the fact that
PC culture.
PC culture. You can't really say anything about the LGBT elemental P community. You can't really say anything about different races, religions, and you damn sure can't tell a rape joke. Now rape jokes were hard even before PC culture. So
100%. It's a tough topic to try to sell on stage.
But I've noticed in my time of doing comedy, there are always comedians that want to do rape jokes. And I've always wondered, I don't really have any rape jokes myself. I'm not really against telling one. I just don't have any good ones to tell. Yours just happened to be a true story, you said.
Yes.
So you
and no one gets raped. That's the important thing. No one gets raped in the story.
No one gets. Oh, I was about to say no one gets raped. Lots of people get raped. I was gonna say there are lots of people that get raped.
Yeah, horrible thing.
On a regular basis,
yeah,
but
horrible thing, but
in the joke,
no one gets raped.
No one gets raped in the joke.
And it's a true story. I thought it'd go well. I'm never telling that on stage ever again.
Well, they might have been mad. They might have been actually mad because they'd have been like, hey, here I was expecting a rape in this rape joke.
No one gets
and
raped.
You got a rape joke with no rape. It's kind of like a double fudge Oreo with no filling in the middle.
That's a good point.
It's very disappointing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you can compare that to rape.
I don't think I'm going to try a rape joke where somebody actually gets raped. I don't think I'm going to go there.
Sure? You don't think that that's going to do better because they were like, finally, the outcome we thought was going to happen
No.
happens.
No, I learned never tell a rape joke on stage.
All right.
Maybe if you're Kevin Hart, or Bill Burr, maybe somebody with that level of skill and
somebody with
clout.
seasoned in the game, and they have the.
That is not me.
I think that's what it is. You can't be new trying. They don't like new people trying edgy comedy. They'd rather have somebody that they already know is funny.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I find that an audience or people as a whole, once they know you're funny, you can actually go into more material because they trust that, hey, this person's here to make me laugh. Whereas if you're new to comedy, they'll be like, well, I don't really know if you're funny yet. You don't really get to tell a rape joke.
Right, yeah.
Or any type of joke of that matter. We're going to stick with rape jokes for you because that's what you chose to do on your first night of comedy.
Ever.
You chose to do.
Michael Jackson, on the other hand.
Just a throwback to your last podcast, bro.
Michael Jackson, on the other hand, here's the thing. Here's the thing about your segues. I think we need to talk about. Your segues. Well, I'm interested though. We'll jump into this. What about Michael Jackson?
I love Michael Jackson's music. He was a great
Pre or
influence
post Jackson
on popular
Michael
music
Jackson
and
has
stuff.
been
But
used for
be
many
real.
rape jokes.
Let's be real, exactly. And there's some evidence there. Let's just,
well, hold on now. You
doesn't
can't
take away
shame
from
Michael
it.
Jackson if you're going to be. You might need him for some of your
I
other
might
rape
need
jokes. You might need him later on. So
I'm never living that down.
don't cut off. Don't.
You can even throw in that he was black and now he's white if you want to.
You know what? Throw
I'm not
some race
talking
in there.
subject. Yeah,
Throw
there's
some race in there. Why
Yeah,
don't you?
just
Because if the rape isn't getting it, race
Racist.
is
just go racist.
They both start with R, so that's why I think that's why they go together so well. You get where I'm going?
Yeah,
that's where we're going with this.
Yeah, no, this is all bad.
It's all bad. But the funny thing I was saying about Kevin Hart though is that I was watching an interview with Kevin Hart, and he actually said in 2 years he's doing a strictly dirty comedy special.
Oh, that'd be good.
Because all of his comedy specials pretty much have been
pretty clean,
clean. He doesn't really, he's known for not having opinion on certain PC topics, but he said in 2 years he's gonna be just a straight dirty special, and I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, dude.
I'm
bet
looking
it's
forward
great.
to it.
Yeah,
I just
he's
really
killer, man.
something.
He's great.
I just want to hear Kevin Hart tell a rape joke. I just want to
want to hear Kevin Hart tell a rape joke,
which I'm pretty sure he won't.
He won't, because
But at least
he's an established comic. He knows he can't get away with it on stage.
I don't think he'll go that far.
He won't go that far.
He'll go that far. He's gonna talk about white people. He's going to talk about,
Of
and I
course.
think he's gonna shit on black people. I really do think he's gonna do that because that's like
Well, he has to.
that's what's dirty to us black people. Talking shit about other black people is like, whoa.
Well,
You would do that on stage? That's like a big deal to us. We would
why
not, you
It's
talk shit about white people all day, and we don't think that, oh, that's no big. I mean, they deserve it. It's fine.
Right, everyone makes fun of white
But
people.
if you say something bad about black people, it's stop the presses, which is why I think he's probably going to shit on black people a lot in that special.
Good, do it.
I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't get away with it.
Can't wait to assess myself based on what he says. And, and I say that to say that I think that comedy in the next couple years, it being 2019 right now, I've drunken half my beer, so that's going to happen sometimes.
He's nursing it. He's taking forever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be responsible.
Podcast, bro. You're supposed to get fucked up and talk about stuff.
These things are true, sir, who is sober next to me right now.
But don't assume my
sobriety.
Don't assume my sobriety.
That's so true, sober Sam. Thank you for letting me know, sober Sam.
I pre-gamed before I got here. That's why she drove.
Pre-game before the pre-game. But I was saying that in the next couple years, I believe that it's actually comedy is going to make a change, and it's going to get a lot more dirtier. The PC is just going to jump out the window. People are going to start telling a lot very, very sensitive jokes, and that's the way I see it going. Do you think that's
Yeah, so I think Joe Rogan, I don't know if you ever watched his podcast. Everyone's
has
watched Joe Rogan's
podcast.
Right.
There's not a single person alive.
That has not seen one. Did you see the Alex Jones one the other day?
There are people in huts in Africa right now saying, I can't wait for the next Joe Rogan podcast. Have you listened to the one he had?
Did you see Alex Jones last week?
Alex Jones is my favorite one.
Oh man,
yes.
the voice.
But what were you saying though about?
So anyway, yeah, I think he had a guest on. I can't remember who it was that was talking about how the pendulum just swings back and forth, and I feel like we've gone a little too far PC. I think my voice cracked there. I mean, some of that, some of that's good. Some of it's good, but yeah, I think the pendulum is going to swing back the other way, and you're going to see comedy be the push for that. I think because when comedians can't say whatever they want on stage to try to make people laugh, then it's gone too far the other way.
True. Do you think it's going to, because it's been so PC, do you think that comedy is going to just go all the way to the left or all the way to the right? Like it's going to be so dirty that it's going to be like Eddie Murphy Raw.
Oh God, I loved Eddie Murphy Raw.
Eddie Murphy Raw might be the most dirtiest comedy special that I've seen.
Yeah,
I've seen because he's saying all the words that you're not allowed to say now. He's saying
even
all the topics that make people blink.
Even in that podcast, he didn't tell a rape joke. So I don't think it's going to go that far the other way. Yeah. I will never be able to tell that rape story again.
You sure?
I'm sure.
It's on a podcast now, so it will live on forever. Forever. Like if you just know if you make it big. Now if
people
you make it famous,
through my YouTube channel.
When they want to take you down, they're gonna go back to the hell. No, hold on now. We found a rape joke from the Cry Laugh Repeat podcast
from
back in 2019. It's gonna be 2053.
Fire.
And Rachel's gonna be like, well, divorce.
At least we didn't go to the cannibalism.
Yeah.
Cannibalism. What?
The ending of that set that we started listening to, I talked about how she wanted to eat my hand the other day.
What?
Yeah, she tried to eat my hand.
We should have listened to the rest of that clip.
No,
Explain this cannibalism joke.
Okay,
Did it get laughs?
No, it did not.
Okay, still explain it because I'm interested.
it was bad. It was as bad as the rape story. So she was hungry and she just tried to start biting my hand. And instead of
hold on, because that's more. Now we're thinking about her decisions now at this point because she's hungry, and I'm sure there's food around, right?
There is food around.
There's food
it was
around.
A conscious decision to try to eat me.
So so it was pure laziness. She was like, "Oh, there's food in the refrigerator, but your hand is right here, right now." I'm gonna pull some Edward Scissorhands shit right now, and I'm gonna try
to eat you. Yeah. And I started arguing with her about how much work it'd be to eat my hand and how I need it because I type on a keyboard.
Oh, so y'all had a discussion.
Yeah, I was like, take the right leg from the knee down. It'd be like a chicken wing or something. Take that.
I can't believe this didn't get laughs because I see so many. Definitely don't give up on this joke because I see so many.
There's something there, yeah.
Yeah, there's something there. The fact that y'all had to go over the pros and cons of cannibalism.
Yes.
Like those things.
Yeah. And then
also, goddamn you, Rachel. All right? You hungry ass. And and you wouldn't think of it by looking at it. Say something, Rachel.
Yeah?
That's how a cannibal sounds, y'all.
Right, that's
how a murderer sounds.
I told you before this started, she's a straight killer.
Straight killer. That's right. Before this podcast, we probably should have recorded that for, to turn into the police later when
I'm gone.
When you go missing in the middle of the top part of your comedy career.
But I like how he went with Edward Scissorhands instead of somebody like Hannibal Lecter or
Here's the thing. We're not going to point out my mistakes.
That was not a mistake. Edward Scissorhands was a great choice. He's trying to appeal to the goth audience.
And I also could not think of Hannibal Lecter's name. These are the reasons that I chose. And I was like, he looks similar to this person. I'm going to save them. I don't know why that story was in my head at the time. Plus, I think a person with scissor hands isn't making good decisions in life and probably will eat a person. That's what I was thinking.
I would agree with that. That was a good assessment. I think you're right.
That's what I So, where are we? Because we got a little off of.
We did get a little
Rachel, you're the meditator of this podcast.
Meditator, mediator.
Mediator. That's what I said.
That's what he said.
Where were we?
I think we're talking about, not to interrupt.
She has
Rachel.
a face right now of I have no idea where y'all were at.
You guys have jumped around
Y'all
in
should
these
not
last like
depend on
30
me for
seconds.
these things.
We were talking about PC culture and comedy and
Kevin Hart, he's going to be
dirty thing. I'm so excited about that.
Okay, so now let's flip it around. So do you think you're going to switch your material around
No.
and you're going to be not as PC because of this?
No, like
I'm damn sure not.
No, I learned a lot in that 5 minutes. One of the things I learned immediately was, contrary to how I am outside of my stand-up, I'm not going to be a dirty comic. I'm going to be a cleaner comic. I just learned that about my style in that 5 minutes.
Being a cleaner comic is better, harder, and has more
Opportunity.
opportunity and better effects and better
reception from the audience too.
It does.
Yeah.
Not all audiences. I've learned that also, but I'm more of a dirty comic. I'm in the middle comic. I can be clean. Some of my jokes are too clean. Some of my jokes are too dirty. I haven't really decided which one I want to be now, and that's mainly because I let the industry jones in on some of my decision making.
Okay.
Because I think I want to be more of a clean comic for the money and opportunities that come with that. But at the same time, I have the pressure of wanting to not fold into the industry and what's the word they say? You turned your back on. You're not real anymore.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. I can't think of the word.
Can't think of it. Rachel. Some pretty great comedians have come out of this state. Tom Segura, that is true.
Came from Cincinnati.
Gary Owens, we got Gary Owens. Cat Williams.
Yeah.
I think he was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, but he was raised in Dayton, Ohio.
Dave
So
Chappelle is up in what is it, Yellow Springs?
Yellow Springs.
Yeah, he's
one of the unknown places of Ohio, pretty much.
It's outside of
Amish
Dayton.
country.
It's outside of Dayton. It's not far from Dayton.
So Ohio produces funny comedians, and I think that's because Ohio.
You got two of them sitting right here, man. We're going to the top.
I mean, we're already pretty much.
At the top?
We're pretty much famous already.
Right, I don't have a
you know what I'm saying? When I wake up and I look in the mirror, like who the fuck else is there? I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying?
No one.
Kevin Hart trained me in my mind since I started. You know what I'm saying?
He trained me too, because he's like, look,
I don't remember you being there, but it's fine,
Well, he divided it into two. He's like, look, man, somebody's got to be the funniest black comedian after me.
Okay, it was like a stepson thing.
Yeah,
like he left me, he would come see you,
right? Because I'm 5'4".
Teach you a little bit, but then come to me and be like, I'm gonna teach you the stuff that
the
you
true
really,
stuff,
really need to know. But I got a stepson over there, and I'm gonna teach him the shit that you forget.
Right. My time with him was short because both him and I are only 5'4".
Okay.
So.
And then I think that's why he didn't teach me everything he knew, because he was jealous of you know what I'm saying, the fact that even at a teenage age I was looking down at him.
Yeah.
But I looked up to him metaphorically.
Right.
That's what I used to tell him all the time.
I look up to
all right.
you.
Enough of the lies. We're good at lying. Goodness gracious. Like, I almost believed that. I almost started looking through my phone for Kevin Hart's number. Because I was like, I have to know this man. There's no way I don't know this man.
Bert Kreischer, when you watch this, you promised to help me become a better comic, and you promised you'd be at the premiere of my Netflix special.
He promised that?
He did.
He did.
Yeah, I bet him.
Himself.
Yeah.
With his words.
With his words.
Out of his mouth.
He's like, I will watch your Netflix special. I will help you. And just waiting on.
This is where we do that black and white thing, because I'm like, who is Brit Sher?
Bert Kreischer, the machine.
Oh, the guy. Oh, he just had a couple of
Netflix specials.
Yeah, he just had a couple. And why does he only do his specials with his shirt off?
With no shirt. I don't know, man. But
his thing.
Because he gets so sweaty, it's gross.
I actually love his both of his specials. They were both funny as hell. So he's getting it.
Yeah.
And damn you for getting to meet him. Damn you.
Oh, it was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was a lot of fun getting to talk to him. He actually, like, we were doing pictures, And
Did you ask him personal questions and shit? You
Yeah,
actually
well, he
got to
asked me
talk to him?
personal questions. So, like, when we're taking, when you're taking pictures with a comedian after their set, it's just like one after another. And, like, him and I were talking, like, he'd stop, take a picture with somebody, and then return to the conversation with me.
Okay, because he's famous.
I was like, hey, man, I'm getting into stand-up comedy, too. And he's like, oh, yeah, how long you been doing that? And I hadn't been on stage yet, but I wasn't going to tell him that.
So you're like all the time. I'm actually a veteran.
So my only response was, just wait, I'm gonna have a Netflix special. And he's like, oh yeah, really, dude? I'd love to watch it. Like, and I got this. Yeah. Oh man, it was great. I was like,
So
dude,
you
seriously.
lied.
I didn't lie. I didn't
You
lie.
lied to some. Hold on, but you said. But here's the
I'm
thing.
gonna have a Netflix
You
special.
kind of lied.
When I have a Netflix special,
I understand.
I'm not lying.
I
motherfucker.
understand what you meant. But
Yeah, I lied.
when you said it, I'm pretty sure he meant, oh, the paperwork is already through.
No, I didn't make it seem like that. I said I'm
They're
gonna have a
going to
Netflix
premiere
special
his
one day.
special that he's already filmed
No.
in a month or so.
No, okay.
So he's like looking for you any moment now on Netflix. Like, oh, he's gonna pop up.
Where is this dude? No,
Where is
I made it. I told him I hadn't been doing it long, but I was gonna have a Netflix special one day, and he was really supportive of that. So was the opener. God, I can't remember his name. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. He's not watching this.
Fuck you, opener. Fuck you. That's what he said.
Fuck you, guy.
You're not famous.
You're not
Anyway,
famous.
you do your shows with your shirt on. But anyway,
You're not man enough to take that off. So a lot of comedians come out of Ohio.
That's where we work.
Segue back to that.
Awesome. See, I like how you see. This is why I need someone like you on the show all the time.
I got
to
you,
keep
man.
me
Let's do
where
it.
I need to be. So yeah. So let's talk about the comedy scene here in Ohio, which
Yeah.
is mainly. Would you say it's mainly in Cincinnati?
No.
No, you don't think so?
There's some great places in Dayton and Columbus. I don't know really too much about Cleveland and Toledo, but yeah, I'd say probably the majority of it's in Cincinnati. But there's some really good places in Dayton and Columbus as well.
Have
Mostly
you
in
done
Cincinnati.
comedy in Cincinnati yet?
Yes.
Like,
That's-
is that the only place you've done comedy?
Only place
I
I've
guess
done.
I would say.
Only place I've done comedy. I've seen a couple of shows up in Dayton, but not ever done any up there, obviously, because I'm pretty new. And then Columbus, I hear, has a good scene, but I've never performed up there either. Obviously, only in Cincinnati.
So it's future plans.
Future plans.
Future
Yeah.
things.
Next is Louisville.
What would you
on the
say
9th.
about
8th and
Cincinnati comics? What do you think about Cincinnati comedians? Do you
Honestly, the community of comedians in Cincinnati is amazing. Everyone that I've talked to has been so supportive and readily available to help you with anything you need.
But are they funny though?
Yeah, they're funny. Yeah, great group, man. Yeah, especially so a lot of them are funny on stage, obviously, but when you're on stage, sometimes you're working on material and it doesn't come off. But off stage, everyone I've talked to is just so hilarious, and like even the guys that made fun of me after the show came up to me and were like, "Hey, you did amazing. Really great work. Can't wait to see what you're like in the future. If you need any help, let me know." And that was from both the host and the guy that did the 20 minutes. Yeah, really supportive group, man. Everyone was hilarious, except for the guy that did the race jokes and a few of the other new people that should maybe consider a different career path.
So there are a few people that you
aren't
would
funny.
say that.
that should stop doing comedy. Yes.
And that's crazy because what's funny? I actually went to an open mic in the Cincinnati area, and there was a group. And it was a group of about 4 or 5 guys, and they were the ones running the open mic.
I hear bad things coming.
Yeah, I mean that's why there's a lot of pauses in between, but it worried because you don't really at open mics you don't worry about one comedian not being funny.
Right,
You actually worry about continuous. You worry about this is the majority of comedians.
That's how my.
And that's when you really.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you know. Okay, this is not the open mic to go to because this is not labeled as an area where funny people go.
Yeah.
This is where you get the other type of comedian. Now you have the other type of comedian. I've talked about it in the podcast before. The comedian that's the hobby comedian.
Oh, okay.
Do you know about the hobby comedian?
No, I'm super new to this, dude. I defer to your experience.
You're in the stages of figuring out if you're a hobby comedian or not. The first few months is usually when people decide, because there are some people that go to open mics and they don't really care about comedy. They don't follow comedians. They don't this, that, and the other. But they be like, I'm funny. I can do that. I'm going to just get up there next week. And then they get up there, you know, a couple times, and they be like, I'm a comedian.
No, that ain't me, man.
And that's not really, you know.
I know what you're talking about. Now that you
it's a lot of
brought
those.
that to my attention.
It's a lot of those flying up these days with social media and everything like that. It's a lot of the I'm a comedian just because I want to be a comedian, but have no knowledge about comedy, no knowledge about it, or no passion. I said this in another podcast, but I'm gonna say it again. I've wanted to be a comedian since I was 10 years old. That's kind of how I know that this is for me. I used to be 10 years old watching Comedy Central Presents. A lot of comedians are going to know Comedy Central Presents because there was a time when every comedian... Comedy Central Presents was Netflix before Netflix.
Yeah, I remember that.
Every comedian was like, hey, you've made it if you get on Comedy Central Presents for a 30-minute special.
I remember that, yeah.
And I was 10 years old watching those motherfuckers. Going to school the next day, talking about it while everybody talking about He-Man and shit. And I'm like, or whatever fucking cartoon is popular, and I'm the odd man out. Because I'm like, well, what about Mitch Hedberg? Y'all don't know about Mitch Hedberg? And like, nobody knew who the fuck Mitch Hedberg was, as they shouldn't have. I was way too young to be watching Mitch Hedberg. He's a great comedian. If you haven't actually seen him, check him out. But yeah, that's how things like that, the age that I was interested in it, the time I put into researching other people's careers and comedy as a whole, those are ways and things that if you do, you kind of know that, oh, this is something that I'm passionate about versus just I'm bored, I have nothing else to do, so I'm gonna do this.
No, I'm addicted to comedy, man. I know I can.
As you should be.
Yeah, I can think of a couple of people now that you brought that to my attention. I can think of, especially the other night, Rachel, when we went to Mount Lookout. I can think of a couple of people that I got that kind of feeling from, that this was just something that they did. Oh, I guess I'll just go do some comedy tonight. Haha, they don't really spend too much time.
They don't research jokes.
Yeah.
They don't research the crowd to know what type of jokes work in different crowds. You know, they're just.
Whereas I'm super new to it, but you know, I've been watching comedy for years. I spend a lot of my time trying to learn how to write better jokes and how to come about comedy. And my first 5 minutes when I got up there, like I just got up there to learn, and I learned so much. And I've been trying to work on better material, and it's an addiction. It's just so fun getting in front of a crowd.
It is though,
and
especially when you do a great job or you get a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
Oh, the feeling.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
It's like if they took some weed and
rolled
it up with heroin and put some crack on top of it and lit it up. That is what laughter is.
Not even
or that's what I get out.
No sprinkling.
No sprinkling, just the whole
straight
heat.
Inject that shit into your veins.
It's just like not even a sprinkle.
You're just like a hair away from overdosing, and that is the level of fun that it was when I got the few laughs that I did. It was great. Even the bombing part was kind of fun though. It kind of makes you feel alive.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're really passionate about it, bombing is not going to stop you.
No, not at all.
It will infuriate you, but it won't stop you.
Well, it should make you feel something. It should make you feel something because you should want to not do that again. Yeah, you want to. What did I do wrong? How do I fix it? Where did I mess up? Yeah. Oh, it's great. Yeah, love comedy.
All right. Well, I'm over here watching comedy specials, getting mad because I don't think they're funny. And he's over here like cracking up, like this is so funny. Why aren't you laughing?
Yeah. Well, let's get into it a little bit. Let's get into it a little bit.
Let's get in there deep.
Rachel,
elbow deep.
Can you
just
tell us? Elbow deep?
Elbow deep. So
I watched a video titled Elbow Deep not too long ago. But we're not going to get into that.
It's a wrestling thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My video wasn't.
Not fake wrestling, real wrestling. Not that bullshit that, they call professional wrestling.
No. What? tell me The Rock is not a real professional wrestler?
I mean to tell you that, yes.
That's crazy. And you would never say that to that
I would
man's
say
face.
to that man's face. You've seen Kevin Hart, he's 5'4", he's not afraid to say anything to Dwayne Johnson. It's a short person thing, man. I have no fear to say anything to anyone.
Oh, well, that might be why I'm afraid of everyone, because I'm tall.
You're too tall.
I'm too tall.
Yeah.
Fear is in all
I got a
of
bit
my
about
bones.
it. I'm working on a bit about it.
A bit about the short man complex?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it the Napoleonic complex. I'm gonna talk about how short people are, unintentionally mouthy to everyone because we're not intimidated by anybody because everyone's bigger than us.
You just better hope that Kevin doesn't beat you to it.
Damn it, Kevin Hart.
I'm about to say, the Irresponsible tour has
I think he
ended,
kind of
and
touches on it.
The tour has ended and very soon this year, so we gonna see.
I better get my YouTube videos up that way you can't say it's
I was
gonna
about to say, yeah, you better get some YouTube videos. Like I said it first.
I said that first.
You won't
Anyway.
win. You won't win against Kevin Hart.
No, I'm not.
He's got the money to win.
Dude, if he just talks to me, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I didn't make a stupid joke.
You know what? I think you know what? I think I was watching you, and then that joke came to my head. All right, Rachel, let's talk to you for a second. You're gonna have to yell a little bit because you're all the way over there because you're behind the scenes. That was your cue to yell.
All right.
So there we go. Yeah, there we go. Cannibalism yell.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit what it's like dating a comedian?
As he covers his face.
Can you tell? Can you? Because we comedians, all comedians have podcasts. Comedians love talking about themselves, but we never really dip into the lives of the people comedians affect. So,
Be honest.
I feel like Joe Rogan's wife comes to mind because, like, anytime she's talking about Joe, she's always like, "Yeah, he's just my husband." Like, I don't think he's funny. Like, anytime she ever does.
why can't he be husband and you think he? What is?
I don't, but I think
he's
like
funny?
that's like common though
So
for
you've
like
never-
anybody that has a significant other.
So
that
you don't
is in
think?
the
Thompson Gordon and his wife are both comedians, but granted,
They don't find do
they
they,
don't
but do
find
they
each other
really
funny.
find each other
That's-
funny
you're,
though?
You're right, they don't. Anyway, so
They even
what's it
rat
like
on each
dating,
other
man?
on Joe
Please
Rogan.
please stop making her point for her. So, Rachel,
That's what he does.
So you've never busted out laughing to anything he said?
Very few times.
No, sometimes I will go out of my way and like just try to make over the top statements to see if she laughs. But her comedy, what she finds funny, is so different from who I am as a person that it's hard for me to find a way to segue into something she thinks is funny. But yeah, sometimes I try.
Rachel, what do you think
But
is
there are
funny?
times when you try, and I can tell that you're trying too hard, so it just makes it worse, and it's
Yeah.
not funny.
What do you find funny, Rachel?
I find like things that people would find gross funny, like people breaking bones or like things like
She's a psychopath, dude. She's a straight psychopath.
Cannibalism. She finds cannibalism funny.
She tried to eat me.
So you thought Hannibal Lecter was a comedy. You were like, this is the funny. You were in the theater making everybody uncomfortable.
You like Eliza and the
Yeah.
other millennial thing. You like that?
yeah, but like some of her stuff is kind of like too, because like there are times where I feel like she's trying to appease the millennial crowd.
Ooh, let's say something controversial. Not a lot of women comedians.
We can get into that. Our main subject is comedy. So
There
now we
needs
can
to
talk
be
about,
more.
let's talk about women comedy. All
There's
right.
not enough of them.
Okay.
They're not that great. We need more. We need better female comedians.
We need better? So what you're saying is, hold on now. So, all right. Let me scoop this back. Because we about to get into it now.
We're about to get into some shit.
Yeah.
I
You
can
think,
feel the
so,
Twitter hatred.
because I understand that the comedy industry for women is much harder. That's the first thing.
I can see that.
It's much harder because we go into it expecting them not to be funny. When I say we, I talk about the majority of America. I usually split it into the American people, the people that watch comedy through American television and Netflix and things of that nature. So I'm talking about
don't
mainly
say we
American
as in
people.
me.
Oh no, because I'll say this, I find, and I used to say I find black women funnier than other women, but I'll now even go as far as to say that I find women of ethnic race funnier than white women. I think white women have to try harder to be funny.
I kind of feel like
Based off
there's
of
some
the
racial
experience.
biasness there, bro.
Have you?
You need to
That's
check your
true,
privilege.
but that's true. That's true. But you have to have a high intellect of women comedians. Do you know who Samore is?
Who?
Samore.
Some more, no.
Do you know who? Have
Do
you
you know
watched?
who more comics are? Is what he's saying. That are
Some-
female.
No, Samore.
Oh,
Samore,
Samore's a
the
person.
comedian
Oh,
Samore.
I thought I was like
She's-
some more.
It's hilarious.
She has multiple Netflix specials on Netflix right
Samore,
now.
Write that down.
Samore, Somm. She's known as one of the sexiest. She's known for always being sexy on stage, sexy and funny and she's known for always being sexy on stage and as funny as a man. That's so they compare her to. She knows that no one expects a woman to be as funny as a male. So
Why not? man?
that became part of her title.
Okay.
that
yeah.
she,
Is she black, I guess?
Yeah, she's black.
Cool, hell
She
yeah.
is black with a name like
She
Samore.
hot? Hey,
She
you never
is though.
fucking
She
know,
is
man.
though. She's so hot. She's so hot on low. She's like
No, he's talking about
She's
the
like
thing you
the
make on a
MILFs.
campfire.
You never know, man. People got weird names nowadays. All right.
Samore.
Don't
That's
be
true.
assuming somebody's race based off their name, yo.
That's true. Somebody's named Blue.
Check your privilege.
Somebody's out there named Blue.
Northwest. Northwest.
Northwest. We're naming people colors and places.
And plants.
And plants. Michael Jackson started this shit. He named his son Blankets. All right, so
Oh,
he's
yeah, man. Hot
he's
black
starting
come in.
this shit.
Let's do it. Some more.
All right,
Check it out later.
I'm gonna name my son Gone with the Wind.
My mom would love you. My mom loved that movie.
All right,
oh my
just because
God.
I feel like
She
once
was
you hear
amazing.
that name, you want to know more about that person.
Immediately,
You don't be
I
like,
do.
"What's your name? Gone with the Wind." Well, tell me how your day went, because I'm interested now.
I want to know who you are. Tell me everything.
Why are you gone?
Take
Why
my
are
money.
you? Why is it with the wind? Why can't it be with something else? But,
How long does it take you to write your name on the top of your name?
Oh, teachers hate him. Teachers, they be like, man, I'm not. Write your own. Sign your own name. Sign your own name. Sign your own goddamn name. We're not
Yeah.
doing this. But
I was-
more, check her out. You should definitely check her out.
Amy Wong. Amy Wong's not bad.
Amy Wong is so fucking funny. And
Man.
that's why, and she was the main reason I went from not just black women, but ethnic women.
See, I think Eliza is funny.
Because Asian women are funny as hell. Like,
They
she's
can
not
be.
the only, I watched
can
two
be.
Asian woman comics on Netflix.
Who's
And
that?
both of them were hilarious.
Who's that white chick? She's got black hair. She's
There's
cute,
a lot
but
of white
she's got
chicks
like
with black hair.
But she's got kind of. I'm pretty sure she's Jewish.
She's
Come on,
Jewish.
I'm
All
pretty
right,
sure.
that narrows it down.
We're getting there.
Narrows it
She's
down.
funny. Anyway, she's funny. I didn't.
She
Amy
has-
Wong, her last comedy special when she was pregnant, I did not find that funny.
Really? You didn't find the one when she, because I find the one when she was pregnant funnier than the one then after she had the baby.
No, I didn't think the one after she had the baby was funny either.
All right, you're weird. Something's wrong with you, man.
It's
And
not
we
that
can
it's
talk
not that
about
it wasn't funny.
Maybe
it's
you
just-
don't find women funny. Maybe that's
I
what
find
it is.
funny women funny.
You
bro.
don't find period jokes funny. That's what it is, huh?
It goes
I
over,
love me a good
It goes
period
over like a
joke.
rape joke, man.
I love nah, those are not the same. Do not compare those.
Can't draw that comparison. Fuck.
You cannot, bro. It's like,
I
hold
tried,
on.
man. I tried.
Period
Come on.
joke. Oh, that's just a rape joke in reverse. No.
Oh, that's ooh, I didn't. Ooh, that's too far. man.
No.
I think I wish there were more female comedians because
Wanda
I get,
Sykes.
Tiffany Haddish,
Yeah,
have you
yeah,
ever
she's
watched
funny.
her? Wanda Sykes is funny as fuck.
yeah, she's
She is.
hilarious. Yeah, I love female comedians, man.
But what I don't get is why was it
Speak up a little bit.
I'm trying to think of her name. She just did a bunch of freaking movies. Hold on.
Amy Schumer, not
Yeah.
funny at all.
I don't think
Amy,
I don't find her
Amy
very,
Schumer is funny, but
I feel like
Amy
she tries
Schumer-
too well.
I think she.
Amy Schumer is
sort of
funny.
stealing
She
jokes.
suffers from something that she shouldn't because she's a veteran and she's been doing comedy for too long. She suffers from doing the same material, same topics.
Well, she stole a
sex.
bunch
It's
of
always
people's
about
jokes.
sex. Yeah, that's another thing. But here's the thing.
She was way funnier before she got as big as she is, and then it just started being like just really crude, really repetitive. And I was
But
like,
that's
this
what
is
everybody
not
does.
funny.
Everybody thinks that once you get big, everybody's gonna go through. Oh, you're not as funny as before you were big face. Everybody, everybody's gonna go through that phase.
That's
But
true.
with her,
It
you
legit
got to
wasn't
what
funny.
you have to do is you have to actually find the key details. And details with her is she stayed with the same topics.
Yeah.
Sex. You can't talk about sex
No, because Jim
with 3
Gaffigan,
specials and be like, oh,
Jim Gaffigan
I'm still funny.
has
people
5
are-
specials, and he's still.
I
hilarious.
haven't seen any of them. I have
Dude,
not
he's
seen one
hilarious.
Jim Gaffigan, and that's mainly because of his name. It's mainly because of his name.
Oh,
But
he's fucking.
I think he's hilarious. No, I think he's hilarious. I just thought that he would be, the people that are funny as actors, not funny as comedians.
But he
Yeah.
does both.
I
Like
thought he
he's
was
really
going
good.
to be one of those.
Yeah.
That is funnier as an actor. Really,
Yeah, I thought he was going to be one of
I
those.
think he would probably suck as an actor. But
No,
he's a
because
great
he's
comedian.
right now
Oh,
he's
he's
a
the
supporting
funniest
actor on
Is he?
Mom. He's on, which is a new special that's on CBS, I
Oh,
believe.
I would watch
And
him
he-
just to see.
He's like a drunk guy in a bar, and he's constantly
And
like.
it's funny. He's doing
He's doing short bits here and there in the show, and then
Cool.
you've got like other kind of smaller comedians in there too, here and there. So they're kind of like
I've never
ad-libbing in a
seen
sense.
him- I've never seen him fail acting wise. He's always
I've never seen him
been
act.
funny.
I cannot think of a time I've seen Jim Gaffigan in a movie.
You've never seen? No, he's done TV.
I've only seen him in TV shows.
He's done TV, yeah, TV.
I
But he's
never
been
watched
funny.
TV.
He's been funny. Oh wait, I've seen one of Jim Gaffigan's specials.
Was it Beyond the Pale?
Yep, that's
Yeah,
what it was.
God, that
Beyond
was
the Pale, the
amazing.
one that I think that was the one that took his career off. I believe, like his career sky jumped after that one,
Dude.
and I think I just lost interest because I got. And I shouldn't. No, I don't lose interest. I don't lose interest. I do that thing where you watch somebody and then you stop watching them for like a year,
Yeah.
and then you watch them and be like, let me
You gotta
catch
take a
up to
break.
everything that you've been doing.
Right,
yeah, I do
take a
that.
break.
If you do the same thing over and over, and we're pretty much talking about a lot of comedians that have traits that they use over and over again,
Yeah.
which is Jim Gaffigan does the voice, the thinking to himself voice,
Yeah,
where he
he
plays
does
the
that.
audience. Who was the other comedian we were talking about?
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer does the sex. All her jokes are sex. Yeah, so mainly we
You gotta
pretty
diversify
much
the topic.
once you get into a thing of getting famous, you get afraid to get away from what got you famous
I can see
because
that.
you're like, this is what got me the money.
Plus,
Don't fix what ain't broken. But of course, people will eventually get tired of it. That's why new comedians pop up after usually stay on top for about 3 years. The industry puts everything at 3 years. Comedians stay on top for 3 years. Rappers stay on top for 3 years. Singers stay on top for 3 years. That is usually 3 to 5. That is usually, and this is an actual industry thing
unless you're
that
Kevin
is
Hart.
included. Yes, that is very,
I mean,
very
Dave
true.
Chappelle's
He-
kind
he
of
diver-
there
he
though, too,
changes
though.
his. But I think here's the problem with big comedians. Where the hell would you go to practice your material? Like,
They do it.
Are you going to go
Dave
back
Chappelle
to
did
open-
it. Dave Chappelle did it for a full year. Dave Chappelle, for a full year, his comedy special that won an Emmy, he went for a full year to small bars and small venues
Hell yeah. And that's
all
why I
across
wanted Emmy.
America. There was even a time they said that he did comedy outside, which is like unheard of.
Good.
And one of the hardest things to do, he would go to different parks and do comedy, just getting that ready, and it won him an Emmy and $50 million.
That's why. Except
So
for
it's
his-
possible.
His
It's
last
possible.
Netflix specials, both of them sucked.
Oh, sir, I really don't want to tell you to get out of my house, but
They weren't the one where he's sitting down and he's talking about the prostitutes. That was the longest story I've ever heard about prostitutes. That made me sad at the end.
damn,
And I
hope
did
this
laugh.
I hope this podcast doesn't go on for too long because we're going to have to talk about this, sir.
Yes, sir. It
You
wasn't
just said
funny.
that you just-
It wasn't
hold on.
funny.
Before you dig, I'm gonna need you to put the shovel down and stop digging the hole, sir. I'm gonna need you to stop doing that
You're gonna
because
sit there and tell me that his whole
going to tell you
was
yes,
funny.
Yes.
No one
Dave
in the
Chappelle.
audience was laughing.
Listen here.
No one in the audience was laughing.
Kevin Hart is Jesus. Dave Chappelle is God.
Dave Chappelle is
Okay,
one of
do
the
you get
greatest comedians ever. He's a fucking
Of all
amazing. I love
time,
him. His last comedy specials on Netflix
Was
sucked.
the greatest thing
Sucked.
ever.
The second one sucked. The first one was okay.
Sir, I feel like you're insulting me right now. That's how much. That's how much I love Dave Chappelle.
I love
I
Dave
feel
Chappelle
like you're
too.
talking about
That show
me.
was fucking amazing.
Like you're talking about my uncle, and you can't talk about
He
my
lives
uncle
right
like
here in
that.
Ohio.
You think
He's
that
an Ohio native, Mr. Georgia.
So what was it? That you thought the story was long-winded?
Okay,
Was that
so
what it was? Like there
But
was
it's not
jokes
just-
throughout the whole story.
I
I don't even want to spend that much time on this, but we are going to.
We're going to.
Because
This is the thing.
it's Dave
It
Chappelle.
was sad. It made me sad to that he was sitting there trying to make.
That was the
I
whole
don't know.
point. It was supposed to be an intimate show. It's supposed to be intimate for the thinkers, for the people that.
Yeah, and
Stop
all I could
think
think about
about
was how horrible the sex trafficking market is, and how pimps are the worst people on the fucking face of the planet Earth, and how I hated it.
Listen, sir.
I didn't laugh at all, and then he ends by talking about how he tries to get another few miles out of his hooker, and he does this by having her murder this dude, and then he says that now we have a secret to keep her loyal, and then he's like, and people ask me why I'm here, and it's like, now we have a secret. It's like, okay, so you just did this for the $40 million that you made off your two comedies. I can respect that, man, but come on, you got to bring up sex trafficking and ruin my night. I'm trying to laugh here.
Sir.
Oh, rant
Sir.
over.
I just want people to know, listening to this podcast, that we got into a fist fight right after recording this. Know that whenever we stop talking,
That's when it
fist
started.
fight happened
I love Dave Chappelle.
directly afterwards.
He's one of the funniest people on the face of the planet Earth. I will watch
And
anything
you are
he
doing
does.
blasphemy right
He
now.
could do another 100 specials just as
This
bad,
is
and I would
the-
watch every single
This
one
is
of them.
the equivalent
But that
of
doesn't
you
mean it was
burning
funny.
a Bible in front of the Pope's face. That's what you're doing right now. That's what you're doing.
Man,
All right.
I'm just saying that particular piece
I'm going to
was not
edit
funny.
all of the part of you talking bad about Dave Chappelle out. I can't keep it. I will keep it,
Look,
but
man,
I don't
you gotta-
want to keep it.
you have to assess it, man. You have to look at it honestly. And,
It was great.
Yeah,
It was.
I
great.
love Dave Chappelle. When I found out he was doing 2 specials and they were dropping at the same time, I got so excited I almost took the day off work when they dropped.
As you should. It was a holiday.
Was it?
Yeah. It was
I
a
don't
holiday.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dave
maybe I
Chappelle
had to
drops
work
2
that day.
specials at one time. It was a holiday.
It was a holiday.
Also,
yeah, you're right.
it's known as like when Black Panther dropped. That was Martin Luther
Oh,
King
God
Jr.
damn it.
Jr. Day.
Right,
So,
Black Panther was amazing.
It was a holiday. Everything was a
I don't
holiday.
think it should
All
have
right.
been nominated for as much as it was because you
Damn
had
you.
you had Avengers Infinity
Wait, hold on.
War.
Hold on. What are we? Wait, hold on. Are you shunning Black Panther now?
I just said it was
right
amazing.
after. Right after. Like you didn't even wait. Right after shunning Dave Chappelle.
I'm just saying
If you
that
had
it
a
was
black
Iron
card, it
Man.
would be gone.
It was
You
Iron
would
Man
not-
in Africa. That's it.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I loved it. I loved it, especially
Are you?
Killmonger. What a great villain.
Are you?
Great
Hold
villain.
on. So you're. Wait. Whoa. Whoa. No, he was the worst part of the movie. What? He was the worst. He was the one part that wasn't that good. So you like the one? Listen here, sir.
I loved
let's
Black
talk about
Panther.
this. All
The
right.
whole movie was amazing.
Listen, were you
I liked
raised? Were you
Killmonger as a
raised by
villain
Klansmen?
because he was
Because
great.
this isn't right.
Well, I mean,
How
yes,
dare you.
I was.
How dare you?
As a matter of fact, thank you for
You
bringing
were?
that. No,
Oh, we're gonna get into that.
but I did live out in the boonies, so yes, there were a lot of Klans people
Okay.
there. A lot of
All right.
fucking racist
Well,
rednecks.
obviously that's why we can't take your opinion on this right now because
I loved it.
you were obviously not taking on Black Panther was great in every which way except Killmonger because he didn't do much. He was boring. He was a boring villain.
He was, except for the fact
They
that
rushed him.
Except
He
he was
killed
right.
his girl without no real reason. Like he didn't even fuck her before, like killing her. Like get one last one in. You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
even remember that part of the movie.
Exactly. Exactly. You are proving my point,
But
sir.
you know what movie I do remember all of? Infinity War.
It's true. I'm not going to shun anything.
So I'm not saying
Because it was
Black
the greatest
Panther
movie
was
of all time. But
right.
that's not the point.
So how
that's not
did,
the point.
I'm just saying that Black Panther did not deserve to be nominated when Infinity War came out at the same time.
Black Panther
Same
had
year.
white people wearing dashikis in the movie theater. Okay?
Fucking Wakanda
Infinity
Forever,
War
yeah.
didn't do that. Infinity War
I
didn't
loved
do
it.
that.
I loved it, and I thought it was a great movie. I'm just saying that Infinity
Anybody
War was
listening
better.
to this right now, feel free
Infinity
to go
War was
into the
better.
comments and tell him how wrong he is. If you are listening to this in audio,
Infinity
free.
War deserved at least 3 of those
your
nominations.
comments will be read and appreciated. Please let him know that he is wrong.
Okay.
We cannot stay on this too long. All right,
Yeah,
let's get
let's
into some
hop back
timeline
in, hop
topics
back in
before
this
we
thing.
finish this up.
Yeah, hop back
All
into
right.
some important things. We can
Jesse,
argue this later.
it's Black History Month. Well, it was.
It was. It's now.
It literally
March.
just ended. So let's talk about all the Black history
Let's do it.
that
I
happened
fucking
in
love Black
1
History.
month's time. No, we're
Yeah.
just talking about the last 30 days.
Just
That's
the
how
last
much
30
history-
days.
That's,
Okay.
that's the much history I'm trying to get into right
Okay. Cool.
now. What do you think
Yeah.
about old buddy from Jesse from Empire?
What an idiot!
What an idiot?
Why would you have people jump you
Okay,
to
so
stay relevant on a show?
I'm going to no. I'm going to put the whole backstory into it. So
Yeah, please do.
he's apparently very tied into the governor or some political person that in his city who is trying to stop some bill or law from happening. And
Yeah,
the
but you
jumping
don't know
was
this.
connected with that.
The frame of
Apparently.
jumping. Let's be
That's
real.
what they're saying, and so that's why they tried to make it look like racism and white people and MAGA, because it was all to help some political person apparently pass a bill. That's what they're saying.
But I'm
Your initial
I feel
thoughts
like
on
I need
this,
to
the
put
whole
on
thing
a
as a whole.
tinfoil hat right now because I feel like
Okay.
we're gonna go down a conspiracy theory hole. You're saying that he didn't
That's right.
have
Bill
that
Cosby
set up?
didn't do it. That's right. I thought so too.
Bill-
But go ahead. Go
Bill
ahead.
Cosby didn't do it. I don't know, man. You had a lot of witnesses. A lot of girls came forward with Bill Cosby. I don't know if you can say that was right.
No, it's perfectly fine. We know he did it.
We
But
know
anyway,
he
we're
did. We know
going
he
on
did.
to
But it's Bill Cosby.
Jesse. What are your thoughts on him doing what he did?
You know, I can't say I looked too much into the situation, just kind of a surface level interest, because I didn't really think it was newsworthy that he framed himself getting jumped. But are you saying that is not true? He didn't frame him? He didn't set
no,
that
it is.
up? I thought he hired people
I think
to
it's
beat him up.
definitely true. I think it's weird, or I think the big idea about it, or what got everybody thinking about it, was the fact that he's homosexual. That's the first thing. So gay rights is a really big thing in America right now.
How is that
Everybody's
even a big
talking
thing?
about it.
How
It
is
is
it still a big thing? Like, gay people deserve the same rights as straight
It's
people. What the fuck
it's
is
going to be
the
a
story?
big thing as long as gay people want it to be a big thing. Gay people are strong and united. They're as united as black people need to be. They
Well, gay people
are
should just have the same
working.
rights as everyone else. End of story.
That's
How is that still a thing?
That's true. It's
Get-
very true.
get
But
equal
they're,
rights,
they're
call it good.
speaking
Fuck
they're
you
speaking
white
more
people.
on they're speaking more on the fact that gay people, get jumped for being gay. This, that, and the other.
Does it still happen? Fuck
yeah,
those
it
assholes,
does.
man.
It does, but only like it's not major or looked upon as a good thing anymore. But that's the reason that I think that it got all the
Because he's gay
attention that
and black.
pretty much because he's black. Yeah, and he's black. He's throwing two things on top of each other.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody's paying attention to MAGA hats right now, and
Right,
anybody
yeah.
who's going for Trump right now, and anybody's looking for any reason they can say that Trump supporters are shit. So
That's
they were like, just at the thought of this, everybody was like, yes. Well, beating up a gay person, people weren't like, yes. That's not what they were like. But
Yeah.
they were finally happy that there was an excuse to say that Trump supporters are as bad as they think they are, or the media makes them out to be. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and then there's a big shot in that push when it turned out that he paid those guys to jump him.
Oh, that
Like,
said
that took
everything.
a lot of the wind
It set
out of your
everything back. Like it really,
So many
the
Trump
damage.
supporters were like, see, look at the left, look at what they're doing.
Yeah, that's another
Oh,
thing. He gave artillery, like, cause Trump can use that, like, to his full advantage. He can be like, see, I'm not so bad. Look at these motherfuckers over here. Look what they're doing.
They're trying to set me
You know,
up.
so
like,
really-
Well, maybe you have same-day abortion that the left came out with. Same day abortion just got passed in like 4 states, I think.
Is this where you're talking about like 9 months pregnant?
This is Rachel's
No,
way
like-
of letting us know that she is a Trump supporter.
No, I'm saying that I don't like you. Like
We're breaking
both
up.
sides are
We're
bad.
breaking
Yeah.
it off.
Oh, yeah,
No.
everything's bad. Nothing's
When you look
good in life.
When you look at the bill, it's not like you can just decide to have an abortion. There has
No.
to be significant risk to the mother's
That's a
life.
separate bill. It's a separate bill. You have the bill that's up to like 3rd term now.
Mhm.
That's like in California just passed in New York and all that. But there's a new bill that they just came out that is same day abortion. So if you go into the hospital with like contractions or whatever, they can go in and abort the baby while you're in labor.
Is this if there's a significant risk to the mother?
So it
No,
goes all
just
the
for
way-
baby-
So
baby
if you're
sick,
8 months, so if you're 8 months pregnant, you can get the same day abortion.
Yeah.
I find
Really?
that hard to believe.
Yeah,
That's
because
Yeah,
they're
look
talking.
into
It's
it. I
for
don't know.
baby.
That
Yeah,
sounds
It's
kinda funny.
that sounds made up to me.
That's too
It's
far.
for
That
baby
sounds
part.
a little too far.
Yeah.
it's
that
for
sounds too far
money.
for anybody.
They're trying to say. They're
No.
saying
No.
if the baby has a deformity
Where
or
you get
whatever.
Your news?
Mhm.
Where you get your news? I
Facebook.
can see that's the problem.
Facebook.
I don't trust the news
It's
sites.
where everybody gets the news.
I can-
Facebook is
But if
now
they're trying to
CNN.
sell it for it's for baby parts though.
Fake news. No. Okay. You
Yes.
know what? We're gonna drop this subject because I don't want the comment section to blow up with.
I don't
with
know.
people
I'm
hating on
enjoying
you.
this topic. Very much so. I don't know.
I found
This
that
guy,
hard to believe.
Rachel's talked more than she's talked the entire podcast with this one topic.
This
so
is why
goddamn it, we
this
gotta
is why
keep
she
it
doesn't
going.
talk. This is why she doesn't talk.
This is what gets her going. Apparently, abortion. Just yell abortion.
Neighbors come banging on the door.
I think we can all agree that 8 months pregnant, you can't just get an abortion. There has to be a
It's
significant
for
risk.
it's for selling the parts. For
Wow.
Hey.
Maybe in China.
Anybody who knows if you can get an abortion at 8 months pregnant, please let us know in the comment section. We would definitely like to know so we could just have a little argument.
Destroy this opinion here. Let's get back to comedy.
But all right. I see comedy in everything. I like it.
I mean that can be funny.
Right, yeah.
But all right, what were we on?
Comedy.
Racial distracted us with abortion.
While we were arguing about Dave Chappelle's latest comedy special.
Oh man, we decided
I
that
still
already.
watch
Dave
it.
Chappelle
I
is
still
God.
watch it. Dave Chappelle's amazing. He's one of the greatest comedians ever, if not the greatest
Very
comedian ever.
much so. Well, shoot. Let's chop into your side, man. What's a major story on your side of the pole that
My side
you
of the
like to
pole.
talk about? Yeah.
What
your
does that
side of the
mean?
pole. The white side.
The white side. The white side.
White side.
What's
White
going on with
side.
white
I didn't want to
people
say
today?
it. I didn't want to say it. But yeah, what's going on with white
What's
people?
going on with white people today?
That's gonna be the new segment. What's going on with white people?
What's going on with white people today?
I'm really gonna make that a segment.
That should be a segue.
That's really gonna be. So today on what's going on with white people.
What's going on with white people?
What do you have for us today?
Oh, let's see. What is the biggest news with white people today?
Rachel, you're also white.
You are also white.
You are white.
I am Casper
I
the
think-
freaking ghost.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
cool.
super white. You're like Jim Gaffigan white.
I thought you were neon. I didn't want to say
He
anything.
didn't want to say anything. He's like, yo.
Any major
Ranger-
besides abortion today? Fast food abortion.
Fast food abortion.
Is there any stories that you would like to?
Oh, there should be an
Talk about?
abortion drive-through.
Oh, that's kind of. I don't want
Like,
to.
if we're gonna go.
That's
in months,
almost up there with the freaking
If you can get an abortion,
burial.
How would a drive-through abortion work?
you'd have to
Do
be
you
in the
st-
passenger seat, and then they just show up with the vacuum and just boom go.
So is it
done.
like a long vacuum
Yeah,
that goes into your car as you're waiting? And
Yes.
and the dude's just like, hold on, go ahead. And he moves out the way of the vacuum, and she's in the passenger seat.
And they back it up. She's
Just
laying in the
waiting.
back of the car and they back it up.
And do people just get mad? Like, man, they taking forever, man.
Like, what's going on
God
with
damn.
this abortion?
Next,
I get better service at Chick-fil-A.
you got a number 6. So no, that's when they suck it out and give it back to you. All right, we're not gonna make these rape jokes. We're not gonna make these rape jokes, even though that was funny. That was
Oh,
funny.
man.
But moving on, we cannot talk about abortion for real.
Yeah,
This
that's-
podcast will be canceled before it even
Cancel before it even gets a sponsor.
before it makes it to iTunes. It will be canceled.
I don't know. There's not a lot going on with white people. We kind of quiet down for Black History Month and let you guys have your month. That's what it was.
See, I was like, all right, y'all.
After
right, you
400
wanna-
years of slavery, we're like, you guys can have this month. We won't say anything or do anything for
All right,
30
now.
days.
All right, y'all.
28
28 days. Y'all
28
better.
days. You don't even get a whole month.
Not even a whole.
Not
month.
even on leave.
29 if you're lucky.
He was like, 20. Y'all are terrible. The both of you. For anybody listening to the audio, imagine one black man being jumped by a white couple. That's what is happening right now. All right. She said maybe 29. That's the part that hurt me. The maybe 29. Because you were giving out a little bit of hope. You were like,
maybe 29.
You might get another
At
day.
once
You
every
don't know.
4 years.
You can be proud of yourself for one more day. One more day. After that, shut that shit down. All right?
It's March 1st, man, damn
Take
it.
that goddamn dashiki off. You ain't got time for this shit.
Wakanda forever during February only.
Take that shit out the DVD player.
Oh, man.
Oh.
This is the greatest thing ever.
Oh,
We
man.
need to do this more often, like all the time.
Oh, man, I do these all the time. But,
Podcasts are great.
Now we go back to gun laws.
gun law.
Gun
Oh, is
laws.
that what we're talking about?
You know, if we're gonna
Rachel
cover
finally
everything-
threw out one. You know what? Rachel's gonna be the one who
That
throws
gets us
out
in
the
shit.
serious topics right now. We be like telling jokes about dick pics, and here she goes. Gun laws.
Gun laws.
Gun
Let's segue
laws?
into that.
I'll tell you what.
Let's get both of you into some deep shit.
let's get here. Let's fuck up your careers before they start. Why don't we? All right. Gun laws. How do you feel about the racial?
That could go so many different ways
So
right
many
now.
different ways.
So many different ways. How about the right way? Let's go the right way.
What is the right way?
What is the right way? The fact that you don't know worries me. So, listen. All right, how do you? I don't know how we. All right, first off, listen. Here on the Cry Laugh Repeat podcast,
Cry, laugh, repeat is right.
I'd like to let you know that we did not expect to go into gun laws at the moment, but that will be the topic that we are going to engage in at the very moment. Now, Rachel, what do you think about gun laws? Kids need them, teachers need them, so they can shoot each other and learn more.
Yes.
What's going on?
Hey, the strong survive.
The strong
Survival
survival.
of the
You know,
fittest.
there's a real thing about they're thinking about making a law to give teachers guns now on a national level. Like
Yeah.
so, it would be or at least on a state level. So states, if they want to, they can get in on that. How do you feel about that? Do you think the teachers should be armed?
Yes.
Can you see
Do
your
you
mom
think the
carrying a
teachers
gun?
should be armed?
My mom would carry a gun if she could.
She would.
How do you think? Do you think that would
My
help?
mom's a teacher.
Okay,
Yeah, I
your
would.
mom's a teacher, so she
Yeah.
should be. How old is your mom?
51.
All right, yeah, that's old enough to have a gun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's old enough to have a gun. She can have a gun.
Or not too old. Because there's another
Yeah, I
thing.
think there's
You gotta
definitely
worry about the too old to have a gun,
and
fuck
too
around
young.
and think it's a smartphone and blow her brain
Yeah.
out. You know what I'm
Let's be
saying?
real.
So-
Old people don't have smartphones. They have flip
My
phones,
bad.
and they
My
barely
bad.
know
If
how to
they
use
even
those.
know, they still got
My
the
bad.
freaking landline.
My
It takes
bad.
50 it takes
Grandma
50.
goes to pull out the Nokia and blows her fucking head off. But yeah. Do you think that would help? Like, how do you think that would help?
I
actually?
would, but I don't think that every teacher should be armed.
Well, then
Because
how do
in
you
a
decide
sense-
which teachers then?
Well, not everybody's gonna carry anyways. Like you're always gonna have somebody that's gonna be, I don't want to do it or oppose.
Well, yeah, they just won't. Well, I think they'll make it. I think if it becomes law or somehow gets into the papers, that it'll be required. Like I think
I think
teachers
it'll
will
be a select
required
few.
somehow. You think so?
Yeah, I think
Like
it'll be
a
like maybe.
voluntary thing.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
voluntary. You'll have like blocks. Like okay, 2 teachers out of this block of 8 or whatever will carry, and it'll be. Because
So
if
you-
everybody's
how do you feel
carrying,
about
then
that?
you're expecting everybody to have one. Or if it's kind of random, you don't know who's carrying and who's not.
That's true. I mean, in the South they have open carry,
Yeah.
And-
so nobody ever. You really never know who has a gun and who doesn't.
Ohio.
Well,
open
especially
carry.
up here with clothes carrying, you don't know who's carrying.
Ohio's open carry.
But you can
open
have
carry.
you can have a CC though too.
You can have a
don't know.
CCW in any state.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think you have more people carrying up here that you don't realize.
Yeah.
I don't
Whereas,
know, we
somewhere
really
Texas,
like guns in
everyone's
the
got
No,
it.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
in the
everyone's got
South, but I'm
guns,
saying
yeah.
like in the school system, I feel like you probably already have teachers that are secretly carrying,
Mhm.
even though they're not supposed to.
I could see that. I could see some teachers out in the middle of like Blanchester, where you're
Western Brown, I definitely think.
Western Brown, you know, there's at least 10 teachers that are carrying at all times.
I feel it. So you think we need more guns? You're not really against them putting more restrictions on the guns?
Yeah, more restrictions.
More restrictions, but teachers should have them.
should almost be like a mental state. Like, okay, you
Fucking
are on.
Take my line.
You're on. I've discussed.
Okay.
We've discussed this.
Before,
It's kind of both of
before you
ours.
steal my idea, I think there should be a tiered license system. Okay.
And this is why I brought this up.
Yes, there should be a tiered license system of gun laws.
Mhm.
So, in order to go up each level of the licensure, that gives you more access to more guns. So, like, first level, probably like shotguns, maybe like 22 rifles, small things like that, bolt action or lever action. And then, like, say, tier 2, you would get your semi-automatics and, you know, maybe access to some handguns and stuff like that.
Do we
Then tier
need
3,
those guns? Curious question. Like, if you think about it, does the normal average American need a shotgun?
Oh, here's my second set.
I think it
anything
depends
above a
on the
handgun.
area.
Anything above a handgun, what is a shotgun used for? When you
Hunting.
really think about it,
Hunting.
besides, okay,
Shooting
so if
people
you're,
that break into your fucking house
But-
with buckshot so they can't run, but they're still alive.
all right,
I'm from the middle of the middle of nowhere in the woods, man, with a bunch of rednecks.
that's what they use for shotguns.
Shotguns, yeah.
That's
You
what you use shotguns for?
don't break into a house out in the middle of Brown or Adams County. They will shoot you
Okay,
with buckshot.
so shotguns are for shooting people and hunting, but mainly for people that miss, people that aren't
Yeah.
that good at aiming.
So my whole thing is
That's
each
what's
tier has more restrictions as far as like what kind of testing, psychological testing, and proven skill. Like we test people for driving a car, and there's a lot of idiots that can drive a car. You know, there's a lot of people in this country that don't need guns because they're not safe with them, they don't know how to use them, they're
Don't
not
know how to
very
use
good with them. Fuck those people, they don't deserve guns. I'll just say
So
that.
you think there should be like some type of test you have to go through a
Yeah.
test?
Like
get
no
a
one's gonna
gun.
tell me Keanu Reeves doesn't deserve to own a gun. You ever seen that guy go through an obstacle course? That man can shoot. He deserves all the guns he wants.
He just give it to him.
Just give him
We
whatever
use
he
him.
wants.
Don't worry about it. Just
Don't
give
worry
to
about
him.
it. He deserves it.
Give it to him.
So tiered license system. Now now a lot of people on the left are going to say that's not far enough, but it would restrict access to a lot of people. And a lot of people on the right like, no, we can't have you take away more rights. But it's like, okay, happy medium, tiered license system, 4th tier, you get fully automatic machine guns back. Because right now they're outlawed all across the United States. But in order to get tier 4, I mean, you're going to have to spend some money, go through a lot of testing, and you're going to have to keep them locked up. And
And
at
I
that
don't really
point,
need one of those, so it's like, you know,
Yeah.
only people that really like are doing something that requires something of that neat, of that level.
well, here's the problem: guns already exist. There's not a way. You're not going to take them away. Like,
Well, I
you're
mean,
never
you
gonna,
can, but
You
it's
can't
not gonna
stop
solve
making
it.
them because I don't know how to make a gun.
You can,
So if they
you
stop
can
making them,
3D
I
print-
can't have them.
You can 3D print fully automatic machine guns with ease.
So what you're
print
saying is
metal
you know
fully
how to make
automatic.
it. What I'm hearing you say is you know how to make a gun.
I would say that the ability to 3D print a gun is very easy if you have internet access.
All right, so I need the feds to look at. What's your full name?
Good luck. Good luck.
Full name. Look
Good
him
luck.
up. Look him up. His address will be below, along with all his loved ones.
But you're never going to take guns away from everyone. It's never going to happen. So you're only going to concentrate guns into the hands of a few. And historically speaking, when only a select group has access to means of violence, it's inevitably used to oppress people that don't. Okinawa, for example, wasn't allowed to have guns for a long time. They were oppressed by the Japanese. Other places have similar things. So it's like when you take away the right to have weapons from people and you only concentrate it in the hands of a few, it's gonna be used for bad things. And everyone's like, that's not gonna happen in today's society. It's like, man,
Yeah,
there are
no.
places in this world where it's already happening. Look at North Korea. Those people are prisoners, man. They don't have access to weapons, and they constantly have to spy on each other and stuff.
Well, look at
And people
Chicago.
like that would never happen in the United States. But it's like, okay, but then you had all these anti-Trump people that are talking about all the horrible shit he's doing and how he's going to declare a state of emergency, and they're scared about the amount of power he has. It's like, okay, now you're scared about the amount of power he has, but you want to take away, you know, these rednecks out here with all these guns that would be more than happy to pick up weapons and start fighting against Trump if he decided he was going to start, you know, becoming a dictator. You can't take guns out of the United States. It's never gonna happen.
No, it's too late at this
It's
point.
too late.
At
There's
this
half
point.
a billion guns in the United States. All you can do is come up with better laws, because clearly the laws we have right now aren't working.
Rachel, would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that excellent topic that you gave us.
I can feel the hatred right now. In the comments section.
Oh, yeah, it's-
Feel it coming.
Oh, there's so many people that are just like, no,
we
that
need
guy,
outlaw guns.
that guy has no idea what the fuck he's
But
talking
see,
about.
like,
No idea.
if you outlaw guns, you're just gonna pick another weapon. So you go to knives, or you go to a fork or
I
a
love-
spoon.
That's
love
another
swords.
truth. See, guns is such a advanced and one of those topics that has so many details to it
Yeah.
that
there's
it's
no easy way.
almost impossible to come up with an answer to it because if they get rid of the guns, we got knives and get rid of the knives. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
People can still hurt each other. People can still rob each other even without the guns. And we have too many guns that have been produced already at this point to stop it. It's so many things to
You're gonna
where.
get to the point where you're
guns-
cutting people's hands off just to stop them
here's
from
my problem.
fighting.
Is
Yeah,
people,
so it's
people
like-
that are anti-gun don't understand that guns exist for them. Because let's say you take guns away, and now we go back to say armor and swords, and you got to do this 6'3", and he's
That
carries
would
a
be so fucking awesome.
and he's wearing. I would love that. I've been training with a sword since I was like 3 years old. I
I
love
get
it.
to use that fucking knight's outfit I got.
Yeah,
in the
fuck
closet.
yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah, it's a lot of metal. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so it's like, let's say that you take guns away from everybody. You got to do this like 6'3", 300 pounds of muscle. He's wearing 80 pounds of full plate mail, and he's carrying a 5-foot sword, and he decides he wants to go on a killing spree.
Oh, that's the day I become so much faster than I was before. My speed will jump up 2 notches.
Who's
I
gonna stop that guy? You think the police are gonna, like, 5-on-1? He's got a good chance of killing all of them before he breaks a sweat.
But
Guns
see-
exist for you
but
people that
seeing-
can't fight.
But seeing him battle 5 officers with
Would be
samurai
cool as
swords
shit.
is something I really want to see in real life and not just in the movies. So I don't know.
man.
I don't know. Like I said,
I-
guns. Switch them out for samurai swords. That's what I hear us coming up with.
Let's
right
do it.
now.
I would love to do that. Let's do
You know how hard it is to rob a gas station with a
With a
samurai
sword.
sword? It's hard as
Well,
fuck. 'Cause
samurai-
he's got one too. He's ready.
So, okay, well, katanas, it depends on, unless it's made out of L6 Bayonet steel, it's a bad option, or T10. But if you're going like.
If I can't live in a world where there are random
You're better
samurai
off carrying
sword
a
fights everywhere I go,
Why
I don't want to live in this
Why
world.
not?
I want to walk through Walmart on Black Friday and there's a problem. It's a real fucking problem. There's fingers and toes everywhere
It
because
would-
everybody wants a
it would be
DVD
great.
player.
Yeah, I mean, the
I keep
katanas
shouting
are
out DVD
bad
player
option.
because nobody wants one
DVD
anymore.
players. You know those. No one's stealing DVD players.
Or
Oh,
VHS.
everything. I'm gonna start collecting every DVD player that I see.
You know, if you went into Walmart
20
and
years,
you tried
I'm
to
gonna be
steal
the
one,
man.
They'd probably just be like, wow, you need a DVD player that bad? Take it. Take it.
You
don't
can't even
have to pay
steal.
for it.
You can't even
steal
steal
it.
DVD players.
That's like
anymore.
VHS players now. Like we won't
If
even
you-
charge you. We'll just
If
give it.
I'm
Walmart
sorry, what's
has
up?
one, they'd be like,
Hold on,
you
real
do?
quick.
Take it.
We gotta find out. Sorry, ma'am. What's a VHS player?
It's a little bigger than a cassette player.
I'm sorry, you was talking about something I'm not aware of.
But
It's that thing. It's a little bit bigger than
Is
a
that
cassette
thing
player.
you used to put giant black
Boxes
boxes inside, and then the TV sparked up. You know that wooden one your mama
The
had?
thing
Looked
you
like
could
a
actually
table.
pause
Was it
and
TV?
fast forward through the previews.
Oh
What's
my
fast
god.
forward? What
You had
is
to
it?
rewind the tape at the end?
Rewind.
Rewind.
Rewind. You
You
mean
mean
skip?
skip back?
You mean skip?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? No.
Yeah, but it was really slow.
Hey, no lie. The rewind. The feeling. There's a generation of people that will not know the feeling when you put a tape in the VHS.
Or when you have to
And
wrap
it's
it back
at
up
the
when it comes
very
out.
end.
And you gotta
It's
wait
at the
20
ve-
minutes
And you have to
to
rewind. You have to press stop because that's faster. You gotta press stop first and rewind and sit and wait until you hear that click. That click.
Dude,
Damn, there's some people that really will not know about that.
There's-
They have
dude,
no idea what we're
yeah.
talking about right now at
Yeah.
all.
There's a whole generation that grew up and never had to blow on a Nintendo 64 cartridge to get it to work.
So how would they live?
They never had to switch to channel 3 to play video games or movies.
I have no idea.
No
man.
idea.
Let me tell you something. I tried to plug up my Sega Genesis the other day.
Oh yeah.
And mind doing a yard sale and buy the old TV so that you can plug up your old video games.
Well, that's why a lot of companies now are trying to do, like, if you buy like a Nintendo Wii, you can download a lot of the old games and play them and stuff.
Yeah, they got to.
They have to.
They have to. I'm about to find me a TV with a back on it, and I'm gonna keep it for as long as I possibly can, because it's gonna be like I can open a museum and be like, look at this TV with a back on it.
Look at this. Look at this.
Look at this. This is what we used to watch.
This isn't even a flat screen.
Kids don't even.
This is
believe
even
you.
the little version. This isn't the big TV version.
Kids are like, what is this?
What is this thing?
Is this a Tesseract? What is this? And it's a little box TV.
It doesn't even have color on it.
It'll be like,
What?
color? You'll be like, yeah, this is real. No, something's wrong with it. It's black and white. Something's wrong with the screen. Fix this, please. All right, y'all.
You can't turn on the subtitles, man.
Subtitles.
What are subtitles?
What are those? What are those? What are those?
You ever watch anime when it's
I know people that watch Narcos
So-
and have no idea what the fuck is going on. They just be like, well, we've got our sign, so let's do our last minute
Let's do it.
recaps, y'all.
Recaps.
What have we learned? What do we want the people listening to know? What are our last thoughts?
Black people can have as many days of the year as they want. At the end of the day,
Are
from
we?
a cannibal, we're all
Chicken
red
isn't
meat.
red.
Rachel, is that your final thoughts?
Have you
We're
ever-
all red meat? Oh my god.
No,
Well, I don't
chicken's
know.
not red.
What color would I would assume human meat is probably like a pinkish color, like a pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar taste, similar texture.
No,
You
it's
got
chewy.
Way
So
final
far,
thoughts,
we are
man. Love
comparing-
yourself.
Yeah, love yourself. Love yourself. Stricter gun laws. Animal meat and chicken meat are different. Human meat and chicken meat are different.
Different.
And Rachel is the only one who knows why. But thank you so much, and I hope that you check us out on another episode of Cry,
Season
Laugh,
your meat.
Repeat. Damn you. Podcast.